Welcome, and thank you for joining this Cloud Customer Connect event. Questions for the presenter can be posted in the Q&A panel at any time during the session. Today's presentation is being recorded and will soon be available within the event post in the Cloud Customer Connect community. And now let's begin our live presentation.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Oracle Analytics Live for January of 2023. Thanks for joining us today. So feel free to introduce yourself and where you're coming from. You can use the Q&A if you have any questions. We'll be answering those at the end of the session. If you have any comments, you can leave those in the chat. This is our safe harbor statement. I'm just going to give you a second to take a look at that. And let's get started. So our agenda today, we're going to have some updates for you. We have a partner, Dan, joining us today. We're going to check out some dashboards and kind of the art of the possible there. We're going to take a look at new features being released for the January release. We're going to take a look at the mobile, the new homepage, role-based filters, and we're going to have a Fusion Analytics warehouse demo at the end. Again, if you have any questions, we'll be taking those at the end of the session. My name is Alex Toothman. I'm the host for today. I do want to say thank you for bearing with us. I know we had a change in schedule. We usually have these on Fridays and this is on Thursday. Just a reminder, now that we are hosting on Cloud Customer Connect, to register, you'll have to go on Cloud Customer Connect under events and then analytics. You'll see not only OA Lives, but a ton of other events that you can register for on there. If you have any trouble with that, Ben, myself, Jamie, Far, we all post usually a week before OA Lives with the registration link on LinkedIn. So you can find it there as well. Or if you have any questions or any other troubles, you can email me. My email is alex.toothman@oracle.com. And real quickly, I wanted to share, we now with the January release have a pop-up. It is for our product survey. And it's really so you can share your satisfaction. We want to collect this information from all our users. It's super quick, I promise. It's under 2 minutes. And it's just answering a series of 0 to 10, ranking it. And if you want, there is a comment, you can leave comments. If you don't want, no problem. It is anonymous. If you do want to have a conversation with me or my team directly, you can leave your contact information and we can explore a little deeper there, your feedback. But just a reminder, please take that. We are reviewing it one by one, and it is helping us make the product better. Okay, let's move on to a product strategy update with Ben.
Perfect. Thanks, Alex. I'm going to start and show you the new roadmap for 2023. So we are going to see the roadmap right now. You can see that at the left, the first column is the first half of the year. So you are going to see Oracle Analytics Server if you are using on-prem hardware. We are going to have the data role-based filter. We are going to have a demo today from Gabriel on it. The dataset role-based filter will allow you to do data level security directly from Oracle Analytics. Also, a big news, a lot of you requested it, it's the availability of variable and parameter inside Oracle Analytics. Avinash will demo that maybe, I'm not sure today, but maybe the next time. We have a better Power BI connector. Remember, if you have users using Power BI, they can connect directly to Oracle Analytics subject area and dataset. So it's a very good thing. Auto Insight, we continue to double down with Auto Insight. We are releasing more data visualization. You can now filter Auto Insight. You will be able to filter also by insight type. So this is coming for people that are not familiar with Auto Insight. Auto Insight, it's, for example, if you connect to Oracle Analytics and you load an Excel file or you create a data set from Redshift or from any other database in the world, Auto Insight is going to analyze the entire data set and start to automatically create data visualization for you with explanation. So imagine your boss is sending you an Excel file, you don't know what to do, he asks you to analyze it. Auto Insight is analyzing the Excel file or the data set in 1 minute. So it's really amazing. Explain is having also some new feature. We are going to enhance Explain with a new way to segment data, and we will see that later. Advanced cloud logging and auditing services. A lot of people tell us, okay, it's not like Tableau, it's not like another analytic platform. Oracle Analytic, we use it for finance, for accounting, where we have different audits. So we need to be able to see who is downloading the report, who is generating this query, who is doing everything in the system. So we are going to have a new auditing services. You will be able to look at all the action. So we have a lot of things coming first half of the year. You can see also OCI, language AI. We are going to add more and more artificial intelligence, data science integration. That it's a big thing, huge revolution for Oracle Analytic. We are not just a data visualization tool. You know, you can do data flow, you can do machine learning, data transformation, data preparation, intelligent enrichment. You can do AI. Now you will be able to connect to the data science services, create, for example, a shape with NVIDIA GPU, and then automatically do your data science project and explore them inside Oracle Analytic. So big jump into the data science area. We are going to have also AutoML on the first half. Big thing also, you will drag and drop 10 years of history. You will run AutoML and automatically it will pick up the right algorithm, rank the different results, and tell you prediction about the sales, the attrition, and more. So again, Oracle Analytic, we are really speaking about analytic, not just reporting. Second half of the year, you will have few things that you ask for. What if data entry interaction? You will be able to go to a specific graph, type, I want to see my revenue with 10% more, and automatically it will adjust the graph. You are going to have also sequence and data flow sharing. You will be able to finally share your data flow with anyone in the organization. You are going to have DV schedule export and distribution. In a summary, it's the ability to send your workbook by email. You were able to do that with Classic. Now you will be able to do that with DV. Finally, few other things, fine-grained feature level permission. You will be able to say, all my accountants, I want them to be able to download, but I don't want my salespeople to download. We are going to have more integration with AI, ability to connect to the object store. And then last part, which is the future, we put again more about AI, OCI language, digital assistant, OCI AI forecast integration, and a lot of new things like anonymous public access content publishing and more. So again, it's going to be a packed year. It's not only what you see on the roadmap, we will have way more features. So again, you can take a screenshot. Thanks for joining. I'm going to show you a last thing. I'm going to share my screen really quick. So I see a lot of people creating amazing data visualization, but more and more I see people using the basic map inside Oracle Analytic. So I wanted to show you that inside Oracle Analytic, you can use Mapbox Dark, OpenStreetMap Dark, S3 Image Satellite, S3 Topo, Oracle, Stamen Terrain, and you can even bring your own map from different services. So again, don't use only the basic map in Oracle. You can use a satellite view to show a little bit more detail. If you, for example, if you are going to zoom on Manhattan, you are going to be able to see the street level. If you look at, for example, Fairview or anything else, you can see the terrain description. If you want your data to pop up on the map with a heat map, you can put that in a dark mode. So it's very, very important for you to make your visualization to pop. And to do that, I will put a link to our blog, Analytic blog. You have a lot of different things on this blog, but you can basically scroll down and you will see an article on how do you do to upload your map and use different maps. We will show you the basic map of Oracle Analytics, same map that you see in Power BI, Tableau. Everybody use more or less the same type of map, but I'm putting you a lot of different maps here, and you are able to change the parameter and at the end use anything you want. So thanks for joining. I'm giving back to you, Alex.
Sorry, just having a second. Let me see here. Can you see my screen all right?
Yes.
Okay, let's move forward here. All right, so as I mentioned, we have a guest speaker, a partner, Dan Vlamis, joining us. So Dan, welcome. He's going to talk about the Analytics in Data Summit 2023.
Great. Thank you, Alex. I appreciate the opportunity to share with you all what's going on with this conference. My name is Dan Vlamis. I'm the conference director for Analytics and Data Summit 2023. And I'd like to personally invite all of you to join us March 14th through 16th at the Oracle campus in California. We do this conference at the Oracle Conference Center. And the band is getting back together after I feel like a couple of years of being shut down with COVID. We're going to be on the Oracle campus. I would say A&D Summit is most known for its in-depth technical sessions focusing on analytics, data, machine learning, spatial, graph, data lake topics. There's going to be over 40 of these. I'm going to scroll down on our conference page and you can see some of the stuff with the schedule that's in here. And I'm probably most excited to be able to network with others in the industry after this kind of 3-year break. And we also will have hands-on labs in here. There's 3 different days taking place where we can see various sessions. I'll just drill on one of them, one by Gabby Rubin. Probably everybody's familiar with Gabby, head product manager for analytics. And we'll talk about what's going on with that. And there are over 40 sessions, including if you go on to Thursday, you'll see some hands-on labs where you get to see the latest offerings from Oracle and learn from others and actually use the software with this. Also on Thursday, for your travel plans, we have a session on influence in the future, looking at Oracle's going to get the feedback directly from us, the users of the system in here. So I'm really looking forward to that. Make sure you stay through that so you can feed that back to them and talk directly to product management. The early bird discount for this ends on January 31st. So you'll want to register soon to save some money. There's more information at andouc.org for more information in here, and I'll put some information in the chat for people to look at. So we hope to see you all there. It's for customers, partners, and Oracle people. So thanks very much, Alex. I'll put the information on there, and thanks for hosting us.
Wonderful. Thanks, Dan. Okay, let me switch my screen back. Okay, we're going to move on to the art of the possible with Jamie.
Hi, Alex. Thank you. So thank you for joining today. I'm going to show you the art of the possible. You can move to the next slide, please, Alex. So if you aren't aware, we are going to put a link in the chat for this, but we do have a public instance of OAC available for you to view our existing visualizations that we show, and I'll show a few of them today in these types of calls. So it allows you to click around and play with the visualizations. So I'll show you that shortly. Next slide, please, Alex. Also, I did want to note, I have a new blog out. So I'm going to show you today my concert venue ticket pricing analytics dashboard. And so I actually have 2 blogs out on how I created this dashboard so far, with the 3rd one coming soon. So check it out, take a look at it. And I am going to now, Alex, share my screen. So just 1 second here. All right, so earlier I did mention that we do have a public instance of OAC. The way you get to this is through our Analytics Live Demos website, and you click this Access Oracle Analytics Now, and it brings you to the home page where you can browse the visualizations and workbooks. So just a note, it will, if you do use this link, you'll have to have a username and password. So make sure you use this link and it will automatically fill it for you. So let's get started. I want to show you guys this visualization that I created. And so let's have it load real fast. And so what I did is I was thinking about a use case of maybe a company that has a venue, music venue, let's say, and they have stage and different seats, and they wanted to understand, well, we might have a problem with ticket arbitrage where people come in and buy up our seats and sell them at a price at a higher ticket price. So I wanted to say, hey, well, maybe if we knew what that price was, maybe we could take advantage of that and go ahead and sell the tickets for what the market cost was or market value was. So I created an analysis with a map using an image. So that's what my second blog is about, on how you can do that as well. I also have a few other visualizations as well. Few tiles across the top, just kind of showing if you select maybe a certain seat, the average resale price for that particular seat. You could also filter it based off a genre and to see the different the changes depending on the seat and the genre of the music. Just moving along here, just for the sake of time, I do have another visualization to show you. This is one that actually Alex created. I think it's really cool. So you can see what TV show is being filmed in your borough if you live in New York, and you can browse through this heat map on grid heat map on the date. So let me try this. Let's say we live in Brooklyn, New York, and we wanted to see on this specific date. You can see, okay, well, we have a student and television series, an episodic series, and a student film for that particular day. So really cool. Check it out. It's on our, again, on the OAC public website. Finally, I think just the other thing to note, and I think Ben showed this as well, but if you do want to subscribe to our blogs, you can do so by clicking subscribe to our blog within the blogs.oracle.com analytics website. So thank you. Alex, I'll pass it back to you.
Thanks, Jamie. And the blogs are really great. I actually used Jamie's blog on the heat map, the grid heat maps to help me create my DV. So check it out. I also used Philippe's got a great one for year-over-year calculation. So there's a lot of gems in there, and it's kind of, a little more casual than the documentation. Let me see here. Let's move forward. So we're going to take a look at what was released for the January release, the updates there with Avinash.
Hey everyone, my name is Avinash Krishnaram from the product management team. So I'm going to give a quick preview of the goodie features that we released with the Oracle Analytics January 2023 update. If you can move to the next slide, Alex. So we have a total of about 18 to 20 features that we have shipped for you to play around with and implement for your use cases. The most exciting feature for me is around the augmented analytics. As Ben mentioned in his section, we are continuing to execute on our roadmap to integrate very deeply with the native data science platform within OCI. And as part of that, right now, with January 2023 update, Oracle Analytics users can register all machine learning models from the native data science platform on OCI. And you can then easily consume these models as part of your data flow experience. OCI language integration is a great example of a data science integration implementation that we've handled with January 2023 update. And one of the very first use cases that we'll support is running sentiment analytics, right? Which is a pretty common and a powerful use case that will allow you to perform analytics on text, extract key phrases and classify and perform entity recognitions directly on your data set, right? And then get to the insights from the raw data. We've also done some phenomenal improvements to the explain feature, the algorithm behind the scenes to provide segmentation data is really, really improved. I'll do a quick demo of that feature and show the new experience as well. And for those of you who use Auto Insights, we now have new visualization types like tree map and horizontal bars that you started notice as part of the Auto Insights, native visualization that we generate from your data sets. In the datasets world, we've added new recommendations that will allow you to now calculate time durations like tenure, right? Basically, based on your year, month, and day. And this is like a running total that computation from your current day that allows you to basically, for a good use case is invoice, right? So if you have an invoice date, right, we will now make a recommendation as to how many days has since passed based on your invoice generation date, right? And that's based on your current date. You can find the recommendations on the same recommendation panel, right, as you would see on the dataset editor. On the connectivity and admin side, the important feature that I like to highlight is users can now bring in OAC analysis into your Power BI environment, right? So this allows our Power BI customers to seamlessly integrate into our Analytics platform, browse through the catalog, and basically use one of your your classic analysis data dashboard as an input data source for your Power BI data visualization. We also added some features to restrict, to allow administrator to restrict email domains, right? So admins will now see a safe domain option within your console. This will allow the agents to only schedule and distribute reports to those safe domains that's been specified by the administrator. And we also have done some improvements to the walletless support for the autonomous database connection. And there is also some configuration options that we've done for the Spark data source, especially when you have Kerberos authentication with both SSL and non-SSL options are now available. Mobile is a big update we've done. Jock is going to do a demo shortly. So there's a new mobile app, or Analytics mobile app, and a new experience. So I'm really excited for that feature, and we'll see that in action in a few minutes. On the experience and visualization side, there's a bunch of features. Most importantly, for the author personas, when you go into your edit mode of your workbook, connect to a data set or data source, you will now see a new experience for the grammar and property, right? The property panel is adjacent to the grammar panel, and it's a big shift in terms of experience, and would like to get your feedback on how this experience shift is, helping you sort of improve from an efficiency perspective. We've added some options to the freeform canvas, allow us, some capabilities to align your content in the form of showing a grid on the canvas and being able to easily create pixel perfect layout options within your canvas. There's a new performance style visualization, which I'll show in a short while. It allows the user to now add more than one measure. There's a bunch of layout options that we have defined. It's a pretty cool feature. There's also an updated homepage experience that you will notice as you log into your environments. And there are a few general properties that we've added within the product. One is to control your visualization overlay opacity. That allows the user to now define like a transparency level, especially for your end users. If you're working on a dark mode, this property will come in handy. The white backgrounds around your visualization can be controlled using this opacity feature. And for all the S-base and EPM customers, there's a new enhancements that we've added, especially when you work with hierarchies. If your target or your parent node has a null value, the child would not display any data, but we've now added an option that will allow you to show data for your child, regardless of whether your parent node has a value or not. And then Maps has a couple of good features. One is to control the bubble size, which a lot of our customers have been asking for. And then we also have added a feature that allows you to define your map background for each of the layer and control the relationship. That way you don't have to define the layer or the background for every single layer, every time, right? So that's the whole set of features. I don't have time to go do a demo for a majority of these features, but I'd like to point you guys to the YouTube playlist. If you can go to the next slide, please. Where the product team has done a great job, providing short videos, using a use case and to help understand how these features can be used in your in your implementation or business use cases. So if I can show my screen, I will do a quick demo of 3 features given my time constraint, and then I'll pass it back to you, Alex. All right. The first feature is the new and the improved tile visualization. So if you go to your Viz panel, you would see under the More section, there is a new tile visualization that we have added. The legacy tile visualization is marked as deprecate. We will deprecate it over a period of time, but it does remain in the Viz panel, and they both act as complementary to each other. The new tile allows the user to add multiple measures. As you can see on my screen, there's different layout options. If you go to the property panel, these layout options allow the user to kind of control how you want to position your tile. So it provides a lot of more flexibility and control in terms of how you want to display your KPIs, right? Data can be conditionally formatted. So I have conditional formatting rules enabled, and depending on how the rules are defined for the primary measure, right? The first measure is always the primary measure, and then the rest of them is secondary measure. So in this case, the rule for sales is passed, so the entire tile is marked as green. If you look at this example, profit is a secondary measure. So when the conditional formatting rule is passed, the format, the UI presentation of that data is slightly different. But if you were to make profit as the primary measure, then you would see the entire tile turning red, right? So it's a pretty cool feature. And then snap to grid, as I mentioned, will be enabled if you're in freeform. So this canvas is in a freeform mode, so you can see that the snap to grid option is enabled. The snap to content is the current default alignment option that we provide. So you can show the grid, and you can also make the grid size, control the grid size. So I want to make it a bit dense. So if I change it to 10, right, the grid size becomes a lot easier for me to see. And this allows me to easily snap my visualization that is relative to content in the canvas, or very closely to the grid, right, which is on my canvas. This comes in very helpful, especially for designers who are creating dashboards that are really pixel perfect, right? So that's snap to grid. And then on maps, real quick, I'll move on to this next canvas. So this is a map visualization that is essentially showing cities for the United States country. And if I want to control the size under each of the map layer, there is a size property that we have added. This allows you to basically define your size of your bubble. For example, if you had a measure in size, let's say that I want to bring in profit in my size, and the size property will then control it relative to your measure that you have on the size of size grammar edge, right? So that way you are not seeing all of the bubbles at the same size. Let me make this 10. And let's say I want to call that as 50, right? So that way, your data is not all in the same size. It is not of the same size, but you are able to control it relative to the measure that you brought into the grammar section. I think I'm not doing something right here, so it's definitely not doing the relative sizing as I would have expected, but you kind of get the idea. The last is segmentation, which is in the explain feature. So if you right click on a measure or an attribute and bring up the explain for that particular column, the segmentation tab provides a new experience that essentially gives some great insights into the data that we sort of automatically generate using ML models behind the scene, right? And you can control the number of segments that you want the system to generate or the product to generate. The default is set to 20. There is a summary view of your segmentation that provides some basic information or high-level information. So in this case, for example, if you hover over segment 8, we provide insight that the darkest shades indicate higher average. So I can quickly go down to my segment 8 and perform some deep analysis, bring this data into my canvas. I can select this. I can click on add selected. That will add this data onto my canvas. Before I do that, let me also show you the settings tab that will essentially allow you to control the participating columns behind the segmentation algorithm, right? So these are all the default columns that is being used to compute and provide insights in for the segmentation algorithm, but you can control and change that. And once you add the visualization or the segmentation data to the canvas, we kind of add it as a table or a tabular view. And all of the calculations that we use for segmentation is now used for your is created as my calculations, and they can be reused within your workbook or canvases. You can use them for the other visualizations, use them as filters. It provides great, powerful capabilities for the author persona to start from something that the system recommends and then continue performing your analysis. So I definitely recommend to give all these features a try, and then we'll love to hear your feedback. And I'll pass it back to you, Alex.
Thanks for that overview of all the great stuff. If you want to explore more of what's been released, check out the playlist on YouTube. I put that link in the chat. We're going to take a look now on the new mobile application and homepage that is being released. And we're going to have Jacques with that. So welcome, Jacques.
Thank you. Can you see and hear me okay? I'm actually amused because I'm wearing the same shirt as in the picture on your slide. Anyhow.
Yeah, we can hear you.
So I'm going to go ahead and share. Oh, I need you to stop sharing so I can share my screen. All right. Can everybody see that okay?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Well, I'm going to start off by demoing updates that we've done to the homepage and a quick preview of the next version of the homepage, which comes out in March. But while I'm doing that, I'm not above gratuitous promotion and giving you the opportunity to, if you're an Android person or an Apple person, download the app and connect to your OAC server. And after I demo this homepage, I'll go ahead and demo the mobile app, and maybe you can follow along on your own server. So without further ado, let's talk a little bit about the homepage. So in the January update, we did what to most users will look like just a slight aesthetic improvements, where we've changed the header, and we've added some options in the homepage customization tab to do things like control the number of rows that you see. We've improved some of the sort of the tile options and so forth. But one of the really big innovations that this is laying the groundwork down for a set of improvements that you're going to see coming over the course of the next several releases, where we're trying to move the homepage from being like a catalog of artifacts to being like a useful place where you can get sort of at a glance information about the things that matter to you as a user. And so I'm going to demo to you a feature that we're introducing in the next update that we call the watch list. And the idea behind the watch list is that, you know, when people share dashboards between each other or workbooks or whatever, not everybody is interested in everything. You know, I'm a product manager. I'm really interested in customers using my products, and I'm interested in escalations, and I'm interested in bugs that people find in my products. But Ben is interested on his outreach to customers and how many people are reviewing the products and how many, you know, analysts are aware of the new features. We both work for the same company. We look at the same reports, but we don't necessarily look at the same metrics on every report. So the notion of a watch list is, wouldn't it be nice if, as you're surfing through content, if you see something that's really meaningful to you, sorry about that. If you see something that's really meaningful to you, as you're looking at it, you can say, hey, this metric here, this stock price thing in this report, I'd like to sort of pin that to my homepage. So every time I go home, I'll see the latest stock price. So we've introduced this little add to watch list icon on the vises. And in this instance, I don't have a watch list. So it's going to allow me to create a new watch list. So I'll go ahead and call it my favorite KPIs. And we have a few toggles just for style purposes. So I'm going to go ahead and leave the defaults. So now that's told the system, hey, this stock price is something I'd like to see every time I go to the home page. Maybe I'm also interested in this stock growth thing. And now you see that my favorite KPI exists. Maybe in this instance, I want to use, this is a preview of what it'll look like. And just for the sake of this demo, I'm going to go ahead and add a few more here, just accept the defaults. I'll even add this thing here and go ahead and add the defaults. So now when you go back to the home page, you'll see that at the top of the home page, you've got this new construct. We call this the featured watch list area that has a list of your favorite KPIs. Now so every time you come back, you'll see the list of your favorite KPIs here. Now, the nice thing about this is that it's not limited to one workbook or one data set. So as I'm surfing around and looking at different workbooks, I might think, oh, this is a really interesting one. And I'll add this to my favorite KPIs again. Sorry for the repetitive nature, but in this instance, maybe I want to create a separate watch list. So I'm going to create a watch list for my customer watch list. And maybe this is all a bunch of KPI metrics that I might want to focus on from a customer perspective. So as I'm surfing around, maybe that's not such a good one. Take a nice visual one. There we go. So I'm going to add this one to my customer watch list. And you get the hint. So now when I go back to my home page, I'm presented with two watch lists. I have my favorite KPIs and I have my customer watch list. If I prefer to lay it out a little differently, I can go to the home page and say, hey, my featured watch list, I'd like to display two of them side by side because maybe I have two areas that I'm trying to improve on. And let me sort of resize my window a little bit. And so now we see that I have my favorite KPIs next to my customer watch list, and you get the idea. For any one of these, I can go ahead and open the entire watch list. So if I had, 25 cards, they would all display. And you can also, finesse the order in which they appear just by dragging them around. And so now when I close this, if I did that right, you'll see the order changed based on my preferences. And then you'll see we have this new watch list component here, which lets me, again, do the same thing. I can go in, let's say I have 20 watch lists. You can go and pick and choose the watch list to explore. Now, the nice thing about this, or another nice thing about this, again, each viz can come from different workbooks. And let's say you see, a watch list, and now you see this is highlighted in red. So presumably something important is going on. You can hit the open workbook and it will take you to the workbook and the page on the workbook where that chart came from, which is right here. And so it becomes like this interactive launch pad that's available directly from the desktop. And then last but not least, this also applies to, ask queries. So if I go ahead and say, show me profit by segment and product. So now it's created this viz here. I can add these as well to your watch list. And now you'll see it will appear here on the right. So if I did that right, it should appear here on the right, but refresh my page. But so that's the concept of a watch list in a nutshell. So you'll see in the January update sort of some of the styling changes that we've made to accommodate watch lists, and then in the next OAC update you'll see this component appear. From a personal perspective, what I'm excited about with the watch list is that behind the scenes, this is laying the groundwork for us to understand what each user is specifically interested in. So I'm very interested in stock price, but Ben is interested in, customer escalations. And then we can sort of use that data to start doing some dynamic things down the road where we start looking for unusual activity in stock price or customer outreach metrics, and start proactively delivering analytics to people. That's the concept. We have some work to do to get there, but hopefully you understand the notion that we're trying to do. So I'm going to do a quick switch here to my phone. Hopefully I didn't lose my connection to demo the changes in the mobile app. So again, please go download it if you haven't already. So one of the big changes and improvements that we've made in the app is that we now allow you to just download it and just type your server URL and go. So historically, you had to contact an IT administrator and have them enable mobile in your OAC instance. Now you don't have any special configuration. You download the app, you put your URL, and you're off to the races. It remembers the different servers you had. In this instance, I'll go ahead and I'm connecting to this instance on the left, just for fun, so that you can see sort of the side-by-side comparison of the desktop versus my phone. So again, it's the idea here is that we try to make it seem familiar. So, we have the same concepts. We've got favorites, workbooks, what's new, exactly the same swim lanes that you've configured yourself on the desktop, but displayed here in the mobile app. I'm going to go ahead and open this sales analysis, and I'll open it on the desktop as well. And by default, what we do is what we call the stacked layout. So we're taking the same analytics that you have in your reports, but we're optimizing it for effectively one finger interaction. Because, ultimately, we want to make it easy. So we resize the charts, we fit them on a phone, or a phone in this instance, of course, on a tablet. That's a lot easier for us to do. Any one of these vises, I can double tap, and then it takes me into full screen mode. We can pinch and zoom. We can invoke these sort of interactive tooltips, and you can scroll from value to value. We even have chart insights. So if I hit the I button here, it's giving me the highest and lowest values for my different checkout lanes in this instance. So so the intent here is to make it really sort of brain dead stupid. I've got this filter icon up top, and that helps me enable sort of the prompts that the user has put on the dashboard, which are equivalent to these prompts. And pretty straightforward, and that's exactly the point. So I've gone ahead and clear that. To change canvases, pretty easy. Just like I have the canvases, I can switch to my different canvases. Additionally, for those of you who use the old mobile app, when you had sort of custom visualizations or admittedly really sophisticated visualizations, we would sort of default and open the report in HTML, whereas now we're able to render that gracefully in line with what we call the stack layout view. And then last but not least, if you have data actions on your data, and you're on a table, for example, here, I can hit one button and tweet about this product or search Google for it. These are just examples. I pass hamburger as context. So that's nice. So if you've spent some time setting everything up with data actions, for now, it's only supported on tables, but we're working on doing full support for data actions. Now, the next example I'm going to do is show you, sometimes people create dashboards or workbooks with a very specific layout in mind. They've lined things up, they've created, like a prompt area and an interactive area on the left here with the key metrics up top. And in many of those instances, they want the users to see that same sort of a layout as opposed to what we do, which is we sort of automatically rearrange the layout. So we've introduced an improved workbook layout option. So here I went into the properties of this report. So now when I open this report, it's going to lay it out in a way that is, totally in support for what the original author did. And again, I can double click on any one of these, open them in full screen. Now, obviously, I think this will probably be jarring for you on the Zoom here, but I think this looks better in landscape mode, which I think you'll agree. Again, all of these things are interactive. I can tap on the prompts right here on the left, exactly as the author intended. And that goes ahead and refreshes the data. And that's effectively it. That's the intent, is that it's, perfect carryover from what you're used to on the desktop. And again, if for those, what we have found so far is that people like to be able to recognize the dashboard, and they're very easily oriented to the content as it was on the desktop. But admittedly, you're pinching and zooming and you're double tapping to open things. And what we find is that people actually may start off with the workbook layout, but switch it to a stack layout where now, they can, interact with it just with one thumb, and it's really easy. And you can toggle back and forth between those two layouts. The last quick thing, because I'm hijacking.
And just a quick time check for Alex. Are we good on time, or do we need to move on?
I'm done here, my last one.
Yeah, we have just a couple minutes.
Okay, so one of the things we now support, which is kind of a nice touch, is the notion of widgets. So now I can go here and invoke my Oracle Analytics widget, where I could pick a specific workbook, or I like to put my favorites here. Let's say my favorites, line it up like that. And then just with one click, I can easily, jump into the various workbook, like the stock history here. So that covers the highlights. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat and I'll answer them for the next little while.
Thanks, Jack. And I put a poll up. If you want to answer that, we'd appreciate it. Okay, let's move on here. We have 2 more demos left quickly. Role-based filters with Gabrielle. Welcome.
Thanks, Alex. So before I get into the demo, I'll just touch a little bit on the service itself. So just to know, role-based filters will be generally available in March of 2023. So that's with the next update. And it essentially works using application roles and expression filters to control the data that's visible to certain users. And it's applied on a data set level. So I can go ahead and share my screen to show you what this looks like through the console. All right, so I'll first navigate to the console to show you my application roles that I've created. So you just go to the console, users and roles, and I will click on application roles here. So I, for the purposes of this demo, have created an application role called sales rep. And so if I click on this, I navigate into the users. And I've added a few users here. So I've added BI Tech Test, BI Tech Test 2, all the way down to BI Tech Test 7. So I'll navigate out here. And I've already created a data set. So I'll go ahead and I'll open this. So you can see I have a multi-table data set here. It's been joined together, and there are a few tables. So I have customers, products, sales. I want to point out this sales reps table that has been added. Essentially what we have here is a column called sales rep ID, which has different IDs associated with the different sales reps. And you can see that those are in line with the different users that I've added to that sales rep application role. So that's important when we're going to add the filter. So I've already added some filters, some application roles and associated filters here, but if you were starting this from scratch, you'd go and you'd click on this little filter icon in the upper right-hand corner. And then you can add whatever application role you want. So BI consumer, you can select from custom ones that you create. So I've added a application role, sales rep, and an associated expression filter for that particular application role. And here I'm using the user function, which returns the current user logged in. And so my goal is to filter the data so that when a user with one of those sales reps ID logs in and accesses a workbook that's using this data set, they're only going to see data that's associated with their particular sales rep ID. Also, just to note, this isn't, the only expression you could use. So you're dealing with a column that has sales based on region, and you want a certain application role to only be able to see, data from North America. You could do something like that as well. So create an expression for that. But I will validate and apply. And also, just to know, I'm logged in here as BI Tech Test Admin, which that user is a member of the BI Service Administrator group. And so I'm adding an expression filter as well to make sure that they're able to see all of the data. And the way you can do that is with the expression 1 = 1. So again, validate and apply. So I'll save this data set. I'll exit out, and I've already created a workbook using that data set that I just had pulled up. So I'll open up the workbook. And since I'm logged in as BI Tech Test Admin, which is a member of that BI Service Administrator application role, and I gave access to see all of the data, you can see that it's able to see all of the data associated with all of the sales reps. So if I log out and I log in as one of those other sales reps, so I could do BI Tech Test 3. I'll sign in. I should only be able to see data associated with BI Tech Test 3. So I'll go into this workbook. And you can see that I'm only seeing BI Tech Test 3 and data associated with BI Tech Test 3. And I've just created a pretty simple visualization. But again, if we sign out, we can sign back in as a different sales rep. So I'll sign in as BI Tech Test 5. I should only see data associated with BI Tech Test 5. And that is high level how the feature works. Again, it's coming GA in March of 2023. So I'll hand it back to you, Alex.
Thanks. That was a great overview. Some stuff to look forward there. I know we looked at this month's, but also we have stuff coming out soon too that's exciting. I'm going to launch a poll here while I just switch back to my screen. I know some people have to drop soon, but next we're going to move on to Fusion Analytics Warehouse demo with Fari. And there you go. Welcome, Fari.
Wonderful.
Thanks for joining.
Of course. Thanks, Alex. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining. Fari Javambakti here. And I would like to show a quick demo of learning analytics as a part of FAW HCM offerings. I'm going to share screen, Alex. Don't mind. Okay. So just a brief introduction to FAW for those who are not well familiar with. FAW is prepackaged and pre-built analytics for Oracle SaaS applications, including ERP, SCM, CX, and HCM. And I would like to demo learning analytics because, as you may have heard in a lot of reports and industry research notes, that a lot of the organizations have a huge focus on learning, reskilling, and upskilling their current employees to stay competitive and also improve the employee retention and prepare for the future of work. So there are two components as a part of learning analytics that people managers want to focus on. One part is the learners, so they want to understand and learn more about their learners. And then the next one is about the content. So for the learning analytics, the data is coming from the learning management system, which is a module in the HCM application. And I'm sharing this workbook that gives more information about the learners. So we want to understand how many learners do we have. We want to understand the active enrollment, the completion rate, the top rated courses, as well as the average cost per learner. So Also, just to note that we're using demo data. So if some of these charts do not make perfect sense in the real world, it's because of that. But you can see the trends, the enrollment trends. You can also see the enrollment by location and the job family. You can also understand how much time it takes to finish the course, and also does age influence the enrollment. And the next one here is the total enrollment by performance and potential. So this gives more information about the learners, understand the numbers, and also the trends in that space. The next one gives more information about the content. So you want to understand what are some of the courses that got top enrollment numbers. Also the top courses by completion. So if the enrollment is high for a course, or when the completion is low, you want to understand why is that. If it's something due to the content, or it's some employees like myself that enroll for a lot of content, but due to some constraints, we don't get to finish that. The last item here, or probably we also have another one, the team comparison. What are some of the managers that have high enrollment numbers or completion rates in their team versus the other ones? And then the last one is the popular courses by ratings. So once the learners go and take the learning courses, they can rate the course, and then you can see the list of those courses with their ratings here. And the last workbook that I want to show is the profile outcome. We want to understand if completion of a course helped employees to get prepared for an exam, or it helped them to move to a leadership role, or if they helped them to gain a new certificate. So that helps us to understand the impact of the course and the completion of that in the filling the skills for certain employees in your organization. So I hope you found it helpful. I know it was short, but thanks again, and back to you, Alex.
Thanks, Bari. Great demo there to wrap up our session today. We are going to answer a few questions in the couple minutes we have left. So Oracle team here, we'll just go through these. I think this one's for, let me see, for Gabrielle. Will you be able to filter it? I think that one's for you, maybe, from Christopher Kubo.
Yeah, so filter what exactly? I'm just looking at the question now.
I guess we'll need some more information.
Yeah.
I think that one was
Actually,
before,
it might be in the watch list. It might be the watch.
Yes.
Okay.
So, so yes, so when you effectively add your viz to the watch list, it inherits the combined filter of the dashboard, the viz, and the canvas. So the value on your homepage is based on that universe. So you could literally have the same viz side by side, but filtered differently, if you will. And yeah, so.
All right. Well, we have another one for you, Jacques. The watch list items from Rhonda. Are we able to save preferred filter values so we can see specific result sets?
So you have to remember that each viz comes from a potentially different data set and or semantic layer. So there is no sort of prompt or filtering component to control the values dynamically on your homepage. The idea is you would sort of effectively bookmark a view which includes the filters. If you want to change the filters, you open it, right? And like, because when you hit the open, it takes you to the canvas where it came from, where you can literally explore, change the viz, flip 100 different dimensions, and so forth. So the idea is to not use that surface as an exploratory surface, but more of a at a glance view. If you have drill down, if you want to drill down on it, you open it in the exploratory interface, which is BV.
And then another one, I think Avinash, you were going to answer this. What is the schedule for variables / parameters for workbooks feature?
Yes, parameters is planned for March 2023 for Oracle Analytics Cloud. We're also planning to add the feature for the OAS 2023 update, which will also be around the same time in March of this year. There's a set of use cases that we have targeted for this release. We'll provide more information and do product feature demos right in the upcoming OA live sessions.
So I see another question about REST calls in data actions. I don't know if that's for me specifically, but I happen to know the answer to that because I just recently created a dashboard with that. So the data actions do allow you to post REST requests.
All right, and Gabrielle, I think this one is for you, the role-based filter, if that's available on FAW, do you know? And can you apply it for subject areas?
Yes, so I don't know what exactly is exposed in FAW, so I'll have to follow up on that one. But in terms of for subject areas, there is a way to have row level security based on those roles, but it wouldn't be applied using this new feature, using the filters.
All right. I don't know if anyone, I mentioned that Philippe did a blog on the year-over-year percent calculation. Does anyone here know if there's another way to do this other than duplicating the data set and changing the year column?
There is a new feature coming. It's planned on the roadmap where you will be able to do this type of calculation in one click. So it's coming, it's planned, and it will be way easier in the future.
Okay, will the OAS release in March be consistent with the OAC March release?
So the OAS release in March will have features as of January 2023 update. The one exception being parameters. Parameters is generally available for all OAC customers with March 2023. We are planning to backport parameters onto the OAS 2023 edition, which is based on Jan 2023. For the reason being, if you don't do it, we'll make our OAS customers wait for another year before they get hands-on parameters. And we know it's a critical feature, so we're working towards making that exception for OAS customers, just parameters.
All right, I think we have time for one or two more. Love the presentation and upcoming features. Thank you. Looking forward to the variables in DV as we move all of our dashboards from OAC to DV, I think classic side. Do you know if the session variables from the RPD will also be available to use in DV?
Yes, session variables can be. So when you create a parameter in DV, one of the options that you will see on the feature is to use a logical SQL expression. So ideally, you can query your session and repository variables from RPD using the logical SQL expressions and initialize the value for parameters. So that use case is definitely supported.
Okay, Ben, I see that you have two that you want to answer.
Yes, so let's see. The first one is curious to know about OAC capability in processing unstructured data for use cases that needs extraction of relevant information from documents. So for the audience that maybe doesn't know sometime, unstructured data is coming from video, audio, document. We have already the ability to extract some point and something from images with AI. We have AI vision, which is detecting object or doing some image recognition. For document, we will have integration with AI document. I think it's coming second half of the year, and it will help you to basically take all your invoices and get them as a data set. So this is planned, and you will have an excellent integration in few clicks in Oracle Analytics.
Did you want to answer the next one on the APIs, Ben?
Yes, so can you bring in an API for Forex rates for different currencies as a data action? So I will answer the first one. So we have an API, a REST API connector. I use it on my side, for example, to do financial modeling and bring most of the stock from the S&P 500 and look at the daily performance. So you could do exactly the same, do a real-time call API for Forex rate. Now, as a data action, you don't necessarily need a data action for that. I guess you could create a data action, and when you click, it's redirecting to this workbook with the API call that you put as a data visualization. But so basically, yes, everything is possible on this side.
Yeah, just to add to that, now, I think Ben's first recommendation of just getting the data as a REST call, as a REST data source, is definitely the easy and probably the simplest way to go. A lot of people don't realize that just like we have the visualization SDK, we also have the actions SDK. So if you know JavaScript and you know a little bit of programming, you can create a custom data action and do a whole bunch of things like that. But that depends on your tolerance for coding. So it can go from super simple to painstakingly sophisticated. I also I saw a question there about integrating Oracle Analytics into Apex. I'm not exactly sure the use case there, but we have a whole embedding SDK. If you search on Google Oracle Analytics embedding and Mike Duran specifically, you'll find blogs about it, and on the Oracle blogs as well, of how to embed either canvases or single vises or anything in between inside of an external app. So so we have customers actively doing that. So I don't see why you couldn't do that as part of an Apex app as well.
All right, and that will be our last question for this session. We'll be back next month in February. Again, look for our events on Cloud Customer Connect. Register for the next OA Live there. Find our other events there. And we will see you next time. Thanks for joining.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you all for attending. You may now disconnect.